Hi, I'm Alyssa, and today I'm continuing my series of Representation Matters, and I'm going to be looking at a character from a piece of media that I kind of didn't really want to, and that is the character of Sirona Ryan from Hogwarts Legacy. So, as of the day of recording this, Hogwarts Legacy has come out literally today, and well, it's also been available like the last few days on early access or something. I'm not really 100% sure, because I haven't really been following it all that well, but suffice to say, like, people have already been playing it for like the last few days, and there's a lot like all over the internet about the game, and there's a lot about the character Sirona Ryan, who's the first transgender character in the series. And there's a lot of misinformation from what I've seen. And yeah, I just kind of wanted to talk a little bit about it, just to give my thoughts on the whole situation. And, you know, I guess we can also have a look at how she is represented. So, to begin with, when I first heard about the character, I heard about her in, the negative light. A lot of people were going on about her name, and kind of breaking it down. And I 100% understand that, because, like, when I first heard the name, it's kind of where my mind first went, but maybe that's just because I'm assuming the worst, because obviously it's Harry Potter, so it's just associated with transphobia in my mind, and yeah. So, obviously the name of the character is Sirona Ryan, which can, just listening to it, like, off the ear, can be broken down to Sir Ona Ryan. So, Sir Ryan, and Ona is apparently also a Japanese word for woman, so you can look at it in the perspective that her name is Sir Woman Ryan, which, yeah, if that is their intention, then that is a pretty shit thing to do. It's really distasteful, but at the same time, obviously a lot of things in that universe derive from Celtic origin, and the name is no different. Sirona is a name of a Celtic goddess, and yeah, that's where the inspiration comes from, and obviously her family name is Irish of origin. So, it's a difficult position, because I see both sides of the argument. I see that, yeah, if that's how the developers intended it, it's just a Celtic origin of a name. It's perfectly fine. There's probably plenty of trans women out there called Sirona, because, it's a relatively pretty name. And yeah, if that's your taste, then you might end up calling yourself that. But I think, for me personally, I do understand the other side of it as well, and obviously because of that, I would say it kind of falls into the category of just the curse of distasteful, unfortunate names for characters in the series. Maybe not intentionally. That's maybe me assuming the best. I'm trying to look at it in the most optimistic way I possibly can. I don't really owe the game anything to be doing that. I'm just trying to look at it as objective as I can. So yeah, from an objective standpoint, the name Sirona Ryan is perfectly fine. It has unfortunate connotations, and I personally would have chosen a different name, just to avoid the issues, but it's, it's the hand that's dealt, it's the name that the character has. And the other thing I've heard about the character is people have been saying that she is voiced by a cisgender man. And having actually looked at clips from the game just so I could hear her voice for myself, and having done a little bit of research, the character does actually appear to be voiced by a trans woman who just so happens to have a bit of a deeper voice. So the people who've been saying that she has been voiced by a man are actively also being transphobic, because they are calling the actor who played her a man when they are in fact a woman, and just so happen to have a deep voice. And, you know, it's kind of the whole idea that you have to have a passing voice, but, like, people say that and they really mean you have to have a very high-pitched and feminine voice, whereas the reality is not everyone does. Not even cis women have all got high-pitched, super hyper feminine voices. People's voices, you know, form across the entire range, and there's nothing wrong with having a trans woman with a deeper voice voicing a trans woman. Like, there's nothing really wrong with that. I'm kind of amazed that a trans woman wanted to be a part of the project due to, obviously, its ties with J.K. Rowling and, you know, transphobia, but they did get a trans woman to voice her, which is, you know, again, it's respectful. And I guess the last point I'll really talk about is how she's portrayed as a person. And I don't really want to show clips because I can't. I don't want to. I don't really want to give the game that much of a platform. I just don't want to show any clips. So I'll kind of just talk about, like, what I've seen from my own personal research. And basically, she seems to be the kind of woman who stands up for others. Obviously because of, you know, probably being bullied a lot. And so she stands up for bullies and is kind of a bit of a mother hen. And that is great. That's good. And, you know, all in all, the character is done in a very respectful manner. And I do kind of give props there, you know, give credit where credit is due. At least, you know, if they were going to have a trans character in the game, it's respectful. And obviously with the character customization options in the game, I've heard that it's very open and very free, so, like, obviously you could probably make your own transgender character as well, which is, you know, honestly great. And, you know, more games need to be like that and have very diverse options. When you can create your character, you can create them as authentically as you want, and, you know, just make them as much a reflection of yourself as you want. So hopefully that's something that other games do going forward more, because I would really love to see it. And yeah, now I kind of just want to talk about the big elephant in the room, and the fact that personally I do really feel like them adding Sirona to the game was a big stunt that they've done just to pivot away from transphobia. It more deflects from the situation at hand than anything. It feels like she's very tokenistic in that way, that she was literally just put in there to try and get people to forget about the transphobic relations that the game has, obviously being a part of the wizarding world created by J.K. Rowling, and, you know, trying to get people to forget that she will use the money that she earns as royalties from this game to then actively, you know, fund TERF organisations and fund their objective of restricting the rights of trans people in the UK even more. And then obviously that will spread further across the world. So the fact that there's a transgender character in the game doesn't really detract from the damage that the game will do. And, you know, the other thing I've heard about the game is that a lot of there's been a lot of toxicity around it. And I'll be honest, I don't think that it's all that true. Like, I don't quite think it's exactly as it's been being reported. I don't really feel like there's all that much bullying going on. I just feel like a lot of trans people are very frustrated and upset because for the longest time, the last couple of years, we've been asking people to just respectfully not play the game, whether you are a content creator or not, because, you know, money going into her pocket is always a bad thing. So it's kind of, you know, just respecting trans people and not buying the game. And then obviously there have been content creators who have bought it and have played it on stream or made videos about it, and then there's been backlash in their comment section, and a lot of articles have been reporting that as abuse. And sure, maybe there are people going too far and being a little bit petty, but I do understand the frustration, and whereas I myself wouldn't go as far as some people, I'm not exactly going to say that they're wrong for doing so. I don't really feel like it's been as bad as people have been saying. Maybe it has. Maybe I haven't been looking in the right places. And if it is the case, and there are people out there who have been just as bad as it's been reported, then I don't really condone what they're doing, but I do sympathise with their feelings, because I feel the same way. I'm very frustrated and hurt and angry that people will buy the game and will give it a massive platform. You know, big content creators and streamers playing the game is free advertising for the game, and it is actively going to do a lot of damage to the trans community. I'm upset about that, and yeah. This has now just turned into a rant about the game itself, and yeah, my thoughts just kind of condensed are, people shouldn't have bought the game. The damage is done. It's sold really well. And yeah, that sucks. But also, at the same time, like, cool, there's a trans character, but it doesn't really change the damage that money is going to do to the trans community. So I wouldn't necessarily say that Sirona Ryan is good representation of the trans community, for the fact that she is just tokenistic and thrown in there to try and pull the wool over everyone's eyes, as to, you know, try and get everyone to forget about the harm that's going to be done. And it's really upsetting. It's really frustrating. And yeah, like, you know, as someone who grew up, you know, loving Harry Potter, like, you know, they've been around all my life, because, like, the first book came out, like, the year before I was born, so it's been, like, this massive thing ever since I was little, and yeah, like, I got into it as a kid, but, you know, I don't really enjoy it anymore. You know, the fact that it's so closely tied with transphobia really puts a sour taste in my mouth. So I just can't enjoy any facet of it, and I don't really feel nostalgia towards that series anymore, because if anything, it just, you know, all I see is a place I thought I belonged, a place where I thought I could call home, a fantasy I would have loved to live. But it was never meant for me. And that's really hurtful. And I guess Sirona kind of represents that romantic idea that maybe it could be a place for everyone, but the reality is it's not, because, you know, the game is only going to help fund transphobia, and that's all there really is to it. It's just a really, really disappointing and upsetting situation. And as much as I want to be happy that there's another trans character in media, another trans character that we can see on our screens, the fact that it's related to Harry Potter, it doesn't bring me joy. It's not a character that I'm excited to, watch grow or develop or see their storyline play out. I look at them and I'm a little angry just because of what it represents. I'm happy that at least it was done somewhat respectfully, and yeah, a trans woman got paid to voice her, and that's great. But its close proximity to transphobia is really what turns me off from the character, so I can't say that she's a great representation. She's, for a token character in a series that is very problematic, that is at least not super offensively portrayed, it's fine. It's fine. But yeah, I can't really say any more than that. The overall situation leaves a very bitter taste in my mouth, but there's a little bit of sweetness in there, but not much. Again, I feel like I'm droning on. So I guess I'm just going to close off by saying, yeah, hopefully, if you haven't bought the game yet, please don't. Please don't fund J.K. Rowling's war against trans people any more than she's already been funded. And I really hope that, as people, we do better in the future. And, I think the best thing for this series is for it to die off. And, we find representation in other media and, we make our own fantasies. So, yeah. I think that's a nice place to end. I feel like I've not been very interesting to listen to, but I guess I'm holding back a lot of emotion, because it's a very emotional situation for me, being a trans woman. So yeah, but thank you for watching, and hopefully I will see you in the next video, where hopefully I am looking at something a bit more positive and something I'm a bit more excited to look at. So I'll see you then. Bye.